Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. With me today is Kent,
Hello.
Courtney,
Hi.
and Rob.
Hello, everybody.
I'm in rare form today, I guess. I don't know.
No, I thought it sounded great and beautiful, especially like that extra Rob part at the end.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
Keep getting
melodic
longer and
Rob.
longer each episode.
There you go. Yeah, I had the day off today, so me and Ruthie had date day all day long until the podcast now. So way to break that up, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
All right.
Wow,
Where's
wow.
she at?
She said, forget this podcast. No, she's I don't know. She ran out to the car. She was like, she said, I've had enough of the board games, so she's not here tonight.
I wanted to see her new haircut.
Let me see if we can make that. Hey, Ruthie, Rob said he wants to see your new haircut.
My new haircut?
She
Yeah,
has
I
a
like-
question mark. New haircut.
Didn't
I
she
wasn't
cut it
aware there was
short?
a haircut.
I don't know. I don't think she's got her haircut in a minute. Way to notice, Rob. You didn't even notice. Oh, you mean the back of her hair?
Like, yeah, isn't part of it shorter now?
Oh, she like shaved the back. I don't know if
Okay,
that works.
well,
I don't know.
I haven't seen Ruthie in a hot minute.
Well,
What?
No,
is this
I
like
guess
when you
it
get a
was
shave and you have to like hit
No.
it? No, I'm just kidding.
I guess that's just the
Ow.
way she had it done. I think when you guys were like at Disney World or something like that, like she had it like tight back, and it almost looked like she had cut it real short.
Yeah, she puts in all sorts of different styles. This is the Ruthie hair critique podcast.
Oh.
No, I'm
Well,
kidding.
I was going to compliment it. I was
compliment.
trying to
The
know.
Ruthie hair compliment podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I messed it up.
Only
Next, we're doing the
compliments.
Kent hair compliment podcast.
Yeah.
No, but I'll sign up for the Ruthie hair compliment.
Well, I know me and Kent and Courtney just got back from Dice Tower East.
Yeah.
Played some games and did some things there. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the future. How are you guys doing tonight? Things going great?
Pretty good.
We're hanging in there. We had a little viral outbreak in our house, as
Oh,
we
no.
usually do, but we're doing fine. It
Did you
was
bring
with
it
the
back
kids,
from the
and
con, or was it
no,
waiting
no.
for
No,
you
the
at
kids
home?
kids got sick.
You know how kids
yeah.
always get sick, so
Yeah.
fun times with all that. But we're doing great otherwise.
How about y'all?
I am doing awesome. Like I said, we went to a Japanese donut place, and then we went to Tate's Comics and Games, which was really awesome. They have like a whole like nerd area, or like just a whole bunch of like geek culture like shop, and then right beside it they have a like gameplay area that has a whole bunch of like board games as well. So that was really cool. And then we also went to record store and went and ate hot pot. So it's been a cool day. Lots of stuff going on.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
You earned some time off since you were pretty much working the whole weekend, or the week, I should say.
I would say, listen, I was like, I have a day off during the week. Let's shove as much into it as possible.
There you
See
go.
what we did. But no, it's fun.
How about you,
yeah.
Rob?
Oh, well, Courtney, thank you for asking. This is for all the people that aren't cool and couldn't make it to Dice Tower East. I did a lot of exciting things. I got to wake up early and go to work. And then I got to come home a few times for about 10 or 15 minutes and print stuff off for more clients and then go back to work. And then there's this really exciting part where I thought I was done for the night, and then we had a few more showings, and so I went back to work. And man, it's been really, really great. So not as exhilarating as you guys, but I guess I was playing like the board game of like real estate and life and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. Fun fact: my wife hasn't left yet, so that was nice. That was a nice surprise. I guess I got to the next level because I've been working a lot recently, so I was happy to see the girls still home. But I did kind of spoil myself. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It just came out, and so I bought it and I watched it. It was phenomenal.
Yes.
I played a couple old people games for the 4th of July, which was amazing. And just living it up. So thank you again for asking.
But did you see fireworks?
pieces of fireworks. Fun fact, I also ran a red light because I thought green firework was a green light. No, it was
Really?
red. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Because we were all looking at fireworks and we were over there, and all of a sudden over here I saw this flash of green, and there was technically a green light, but it was just a green arrow for the left-hand turn to take a left, but I was going straight, and so I start going, and then the car slams on their horn, and then my wife pierces a hole through the side of my face and soul. You know what you'd be saying if that was me, but I was strong. I didn't look because I knew I couldn't. I knew, like if I looked, I'm dead. So, but yeah, green firework, whoop, go, and all of a sudden the car was coming. So that was fun, very exciting. That was a very exciting game. It's called Expensive Bumper Cars, and so, but nobody got hurt or hit. And so yeah, just man, I tell you what, guys, you might have been in Florida playing games all day, but man, if you would have been with me, I think it would have been a toss up for who had more fun.
Sounds like you're living the dream.
Living it up.
Living it up.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
back to you guys.
Well, we can talk about some news as well. Maybe we can all have some
Yeah.
input on this news stuff. So let me make sure we have all the people's faces here for the news. Rob, you switched sides, but it's good. Hey, so the first thing of news here is Mordred, which is a new game from Simon that was announced. It looks like it's set in the Arthurian Legends thing. I guess did they announce that it's specifically supposed to be like another game in that sort of line of games now? Like
The line of
just area control games, or
I don't think they. I didn't see anything about that. I know it is an area control style game, but I don't think it's mentioned.
Isn't like Britannia?
It's not an Eric Lang game or anything either.
I mean, I
That's
understand
the-
it's not an Eric Lang game, but feels like it's got like that.
But
sort
it
of
would.
vibe,
It does fit in with like the miniatures and Adrian Smith art and that kind of stuff.
right?
I'm excited for this. I've been watching this. I know it's gonna blow you guys' minds. I've been watching this for a few days now.
Oh wow!
Probably been announced for a
Nice.
long time. But I've been watching for a few days. That's a big deal, and it looks fantastic. I just wish it was later in the month. I wish it wasn't launching tomorrow. That's my only concern is monies, because I just
Yeah.
finished backing 2 other Kickstarters.
Well, I mean, at least Simon Kickstarters are normally not that expensive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll probably end up being like this really cool playmat and like these Kickstarter exclusive stuffs. And
Yeah.
since we almost died at like 4th of July, her letting me live is my current Kickstarter. So I don't know if I can get like an additional Kickstarter right now. So we'll see.
Maybe get a stretch goal.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. I'm like, hey babe, listen. This is this amazing stretch goal. It's called Mordred. Do you guys
Just
know what
go for the tell her how you can use the minis in your D&D group.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you
these
go.
would fit right in.
That's
We-
always a plus.
I've got so many minis for D&D. Like,
You always need more though, right?
Without exposing too much, I'm not allowed to. I have to wait like at least 6 months before I can use that excuse again.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So this one will just be pity.
But yeah, I'm excited about this one. I mean, I'm hoping that's just solid. I mean, honestly, I enjoy area control games from Simon. I'm really stoked about the Dune game coming out in a while because it's made by the same designers that made a lot of the War of the Rings stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it gives me that vibe. But this definitely gives me back to a like Blood Rage, Ankh, Rising Sun vibe. So I mean, I've really enjoyed those games. I know it's not. I mean, I think some of the design team is the same as those people. The art's the same. It just doesn't have the Eric Lang name attached to it. But I'm excited to see what they've done with this game. It'll be really cool to see how it all comes together.
It looks really interesting based on there's a quick video they posted.
Yeah,
that
I
had-
saw that there's like a board that like folds out as the game
Yeah.
goes along, and like all sorts of crazy.
Yeah,
interesting
it looked
stuff.
like all sorts of crazy stuff going on. It was hard
And it's
to
in
really figure out what
Britannia,
it was.
right?
but
It's like folk legendary tale Britannia.
Nice.
so-
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that IP. And you guys remember the old game I think it was called Britannia, and you like went through the ages of Britannia, and you started off with like Celtic warriors, and then maybe like the Romans eventually came, and then like King Arthur, but like you scaled up throughout the ages, and it was in Britain and Scotland and stuff. I know this isn't that same thing, but I've wanted like a good Britain Britannia style game, and I think this is going to do it for me.
Nick's
You
in the
guys have
chat.
a-
Nick, we hope you're feeling better, man. I know Nick was at Dice Tower East, but he wasn't feeling the best. So, gotta shout out EGN. Anyway. But yeah, Mordred looks cool. And we'll see how the campaign comes together. We might end up talking about that later if Rob either A, backs it, or B, is waiting for his pledge to come in for too long.
So check it out tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern if you have any interest in it.
Oh,
I
wow.
will be saving it. It will be a last minute backing.
There you go.
I
Right,
intend to back
right
it.
under the wire.
Cool mini
The
or
next
not,
one
my
here
money-
is a game that I know you guys like. This is Planet Unknown expansion. Kent, do you want to talk a little bit about this one?
Yeah, sure. So this is we'd already mentioned this previously, but it's currently live on GamePound. So this is you can get the base game, which was I think it's mostly out of print. I think some retailers might have it, but for the most part it's out of print. And it has the Supermoon expansion, which I looked into a little bit more. Basically, you have an extra board on your next to your planet that you can put tiles on just as you would normally on the main planet. But it scores a little bit differently. Now, the main planet scores by rows and columns and that kind of thing. This one scores by more of like a set collection aspect. I think it has to do with the terrain tiles you put down. And then it gives you another option where you can, if you don't like the tiles you're given, there's an option to like, I forget what it's called, salvage, I believe, maybe salvage tiles. You can take salvage tiles that you start the game with and you can place them instead. So it maybe mitigate some of the getting just stuck with something really terrible. And it gives you a satellite you can use to shoot meteors down. So normally you can only get rid of meteors with a rover, but you have this satellite that kind of goes around. I don't know if it only works for the moon or if it works for the planet, but it's a little miniature for it. And it gives you more event cards, just more like I think mainly just a little bit more of like what the base game has to offer also. And it comes with a lid for the
lasers? Space lasers.
I think space lasers, and it has a lid for the Lazy Susan, which they did not have, which is pretty good because a lot of that stuff would fall out in the box.
That's
So
awesome.
it's live now, like I said, and it's over on GamePound, and it's a fun game.
Yeah, we were talking about how we wish we could just buy the lid. That would be nice.
I
on the
never said
current
that.
game. Yeah.
I'm all in.
Kent's like, I'll take the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll take the whole thing. Thank you.
You could always get the expansion and then put the rest of the game in the virtual flea market like an as-is thing, and then just keep the lid.
Yeah.
You could theoretically, yeah.
Ken and Courtney
I'd buy it
sold.
from you.
Ken and Courtney, you guys sold 90 games at the virtual flea market.
Yeah,
We're getting ahead
about
of
90. Yeah.
ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's Dice Tower East stuff. Hold on.
All right, but that's Supermoon. So
Oh, it's cool.
Planet Unknown.
I still need to play that game. Like, really. I mean, I'm not normally super huge on polyomino-ish style games, but just it looks so cool with the whole thing spinning and getting different tiles based on where you're sitting compared to that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd like it, but you definitely should try it. It's
It's a
worth
space
a try.
I should
theme.
try it just
And it's a
because to have
simultaneous
tried it.
play space game.
And I love simultaneous play. It just feels like I'm like, is this gonna be roll and righty? Even though it has nothing to do with like rolling or writing, it still has that vibe, you know.
It has a little bit of that vibe, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. You may like it, you may not, but it's worth a try.
The next one is Stone Spine Architects. This is a game covered with cows. No, Thunderworks games. Yeah, that cover's crazy.
Yeah, so they're the ones that made Cartographers, Role Player, Lockup.
Player.
They have their own little universe, which is kind of like just a fantasy universe.
Right.
And this one is like a card drafting game where you're building your own little labyrinth. You're the Minotaur, I guess you're a Minotaur, and you're building a labyrinth for heroes to come in and get trapped and killed
pretty
or
cool.
whatever, which is kind of cool. So it makes this, you get your cards, you make this cool little grid, you're building your labyrinth up, you're getting traps for your labyrinth, you're putting in monsters, you're doing all sorts of fun stuff. It just looked like, I like if you look at there's not a good picture here, but you can make these like cool looking little dungeons for with all your cards. It just looked really neat, and I typically like what this company comes out with.
Yeah.
Thunderworks games. So it's also by the same designers, Cartographers, which is a really fun roll and write. So it's definitely one that's caught my attention.
That's awesome.
So have you all played any of the other games from them, or
Did I?
From Thunderworks.
I feel like I know all of them, and I don't know if I've actually physically played them. I feel like I've watched people play all of them.
They're all pretty good. I mean, they're well thought out, well designed. So, this one looks pretty cool to me.
That's the weird thing about running streams all the time is like I always am watching people play games, but not necessarily actively being one of the players.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. I know Thunderworks does like great stuff.
Yeah, but if you get I should have put a picture in there, but check out the what the layout looks like for the labyrinth. It looks kind of cool.
Okay, awesome. The next one here is Far Shore. Oh, is this Everdale?
This Everdale Far Shore. So this is another. So have you all played Everdale?
Yes, I have played that one.
Okay, so it's like a worker placement card builder tableau game. This is and has like a million expansions. This is a new standalone game in that universe that takes some of the core of Everdale. I mean, I'd say primarily the core of Everdale, and adds a little bit different kind of stuff to it. It's got a different artist too. The artwork is amazing, but it's not Andrew Bosley. It's I want to say, is it Jackie Davis maybe? I believe that's right. I could be wrong. But it has a water theme. You have like a little boat miniature that kind of sails around the outside of the board to do stuff for you. You've got some of the worker spots are in the water and they shift. So like I guess shift with the tide, so they'll change as you play from round to round. And they kind of adjusted some of the aspects of the game where Everdale's got a huge stack of cards, and I think they put an element in that kind of helps mitigate some of that randomness in the stacks. They'll have, they have just a few little new mechanisms that help kind of make it so you can get what you need, or if you can't get what you need, there's ways around that, because, if you just can't find a single card in the deck for your little combo, it's kind of annoying, but so it looks really cool.
Things where if you have certain cards, you can kind of get other cards into play for free if you have the right combo, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I think there's a way to bypass that, so you can just go straight in, build a card for free, even if you don't get the combo. But yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks there's some more Everdale stuff.
I mean,
so.
I like the art in Everdale, but I also like the art in this. That cover looks really good.
Yeah, it does. I like the I guess the water nautical kind of theme. It's a nice touch. It has a giant lighthouse that comes with it, which does not seem necessary, but it adds some table presence for sure. Kind of like the tree in the original game. It's big and gets in the way.
All the animals in this world have like human jobs and stuff. I'm trying to figure out what this Oxalotl's like. If he's like giving that dolphin money, or if he's like charging him a bill, like he's invoicing him or something. I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. Or he's like,
I have no idea.
Like, take us to the treasure. I'm not sure. There's a story there. There's something more that needs to be told.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. These animals they're doing people work.
Well, I mean, most of them aren't they just like, what is it like in Everdale? It's like the farmer and the wife and the husband and the maid and the.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, those are names, definitely names of those cards. I think they renamed some of those cards, but yeah, you're right.
The last one here, is Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs, and this is a solo version of Gloomhaven that you can basically play. It looks like almost like Tiny Epic Gloomhaven almost a little bit, but it's like just a pared down version of Gloomhaven with a lot smaller components and things like that you can, I guess, play solo, like maybe on like lunch break or something like that. That they announced with the Gloomhaven campaign that's going on. We talked about the Gloomhaven campaign before, but this looks like an interesting add-on to that whole thing. I know Rob is not into the solo thing at all.
No, if only Adam was here.
If only Adam was here. Adam could play this right after his coffee or during his coffee in the morning.
Yeah. If you can play, I don't know if this is one you can play one-handed, but some of these I thought you could play in line, like you're standing in line or waiting for something. You could just
a little bit what this is supposed to be. Similar to that. I saw some components though, like maybe some bits that you have to have on the table.
It looks like this is a re-implementation of Gloomholden, which was like an unofficial Gloomhaven.
I remember that.
Gloomhaven card game that was like official. I think Isaac let the designer put it out with the Gloomhaven name unofficially. But this is a refined version and an official version. But also Nikki Valance came on to help design this somewhat
Oh,
or
that's
refine it.
awesome.
And Nikki Valens is famous for lots of Eldritch Horror,
All
or
that
Eldritch,
stuff.
some
Arkham
Eldritch
Horror,
Horror,
the
Mansions
card
of
game,
Madness,
Mansions of
Legacy of
Madness, lots
Dragonholt.
of stuff.
A lot of those
Yeah.
like Fantasy Flight kind of stuff. So they do some good stuff. So
Quirky
this looks like a
circuits.
fancy version of that.
That's awesome. Well, this is cool to see. We made predictions about Gloomhaven, the campaign, back when it was happening, and we were all like really excited and talking about how like much it was gonna make and things like that. And I think I wonder if it's met the expectations of what they were hoping it was going to, because it seems like it's quite a bit less. What's it currently at? I would have to like actually go and look.
It is at $3.4 million.
I mean, $3.4 million is nothing to scoff at, and I think
that's
it's
very
funny
respectable.
that's like gigantic compared to most campaigns
most
in general. Like in general, that's amazing.
Yeah, but
But it's
Frosthaven
just the
was
fact
over
that
12.
Frosthaven
Yeah.
made like what 14
It was
makes it
over
look
12.
like, oh, this isn't doing that well, but it's doing amazing. But
Yeah.
also comparatively, I thought they were gonna blow the doors off of it even more. And I wonder if it's backer kit, or I wonder if it's the fact that like there isn't like new content. You know, there's Gloomhaven Second
Yeah.
Edition, there's this little game, there's miniatures and stuff like that, but it's not like a brand new game. But I figured the miniatures themselves, like I think I would have thought a lot of people would have been in on that.
I would have thought so too. But I guess storing miniatures is not that easy, and I don't know. People who have Gloomhaven, I don't know how many people who have Gloomhaven are looking for a second edition of it. That's the other thing. So I think a lot of people have Gloomhaven. The ones who have it already, who wanted it already have it. And I don't know if they want to just invest more into something they haven't even finished already.
Or if they have finished it, I don't know why you would need miniatures. Because if you're done playing it, I don't know.
And I feel like
They have
Gloomhaven
the
is
Jaws of the Lion expansion set for only $30.
yeah that's
Yeah.
keep rubbing that in my face, Rob.
It's only $30.
that is a good deal, honestly. You're not wrong, but
Like 47 high quality miniatures to replace all unique enemy and boss standees to
Wow.
Gloomhaven Jaws of the
$30
Lion for $30, guys.
it's a pretty good deal, man. Pretty good deal. What was I gonna say? But yeah, I feel like Gloomhaven itself is bigger than just like hardcore board gamers or people that are like in the board gaming hobby. I feel like a lot of people that wouldn't consider themselves even like board gamers are into Gloomhaven just because of how big it had gotten. And I wonder how many of those people, like say the PAX Unplugged crowd, I wonder how many of those people know what backer kit specifically is to go find this. Or know like how to, or like have to or know how to sign up for backer kit. It's just interesting, like just going to different things besides Kickstarter. I wonder how much that affected the number that this has reached.
Yeah, but don't they already have like a big community that follows them, through whether it's their own company or their social medias and stuff? Or,
I'm sure, and I've seen advertising for this like crazy. I mean, I'm obviously in their targeted ad market because it's like Gloomhaven ad. So I mean, I've definitely seen it. I wonder how much that's crossing over to everybody else. So
I don't think advertising has necessarily been their issue. I think Courtney kind of hit it on the head, where it's, if I've already got it, do I want to replace this already huge box with just bigger boxes of minis? Because like the standees and stuff are easy to break down, but the minis are going to take up so much more room. So I was shocked and disappointed. Not disappointed in a bad way, but I thought it'd be a lot closer to 10 million at this point, because they don't have much time left. There's 8 days left. So I thought
I do still think it looks good and is like a solid deal. We were talking about how much the price per miniature is. It's like, holy smokes, this is a great deal.
Yeah, it's like 60 cents a miniature.
And some of those miniatures look really cool.
You can get Jaws of the Lion expansion set, 47 antique.
How much is it?
Unique.
How much does it cost, Rob?
$30.
Rob's going hard on this because last time we talked about this, I was like, if they had the Jaws of the Lion one, I would get it. And like now, they're like, we do have the Jaws of the Lion one. I'm like, dang it.
47 awesome, unique miniatures.
Do they have the pictures of all the Jaws of the Lion ones?
Yeah, they do.
Let's see.
Uh-uh.
Go down to add-ons.
It's a slippery slope.
They have pictures of all the stuff?
Yeah.
Make sure you get Gloomhaven while you're doing that.
You may have to like zoom in on some stuff, but yeah.
Oh, I can go to Etsy and get Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion miniatures.
So I know you'd mentioned that you wonder if backer kit, just people not knowing about it, is part of that, and I think that's possibly very valid, since Kickstarter is just so huge. But like I was looking at Return to Dark Tower, who was on backer kit. They made this is their second printing for Return to Dark Tower, and for the expansion they went up. They made a little over 2 million, which is pretty good. But that was coming off the tail of the other Kickstarters. So I almost wonder, you never really would know, but how much that would do on Kickstarter versus that. It's very it's interesting to think about.
I'm very happy that I did GameFound for my campaign of my game, but I do want to say that like half of me promoting my game was explaining to people what GameFound was.
Okay.
It's like there were just as many people that say what?
What's the exodus from Kickstarter? Why aren't these companies?
Well, I think a lot of companies really want to try out these other platforms, because Kickstarter is very much like they don't care about any campaign on it. They're so big that you don't have like a voice there as a creator. You can't really pull strings, or there's no personal connection with the company itself. You can't really like work with Kickstarter to do stuff, and they take a decent amount. Like they take a large cut. Like I think it's like 10% overall. And when you're talking about millions of dollars, 10% is a large amount of money. So when like GameFound or BackerKit or somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to run a campaign, and we'll let you keep more of that percentage or keep all of that percentage," I bet Gloomhaven, or I bet Selfless Fair is not paying BackerKit that much, if anything, to run that campaign, because it's such a big deal for BackerKit to bring the eyeballs to their platform. It's a huge thing for them. But in return, then you're not you're having better margins on everything you're making, because you're not losing that 10%. But at the same time, the payoff, or the bad part about it, is just not as many people know about the other platform. So like your big project is bringing people to that platform. So hopefully in the future it will be big. And a lot of companies want to they want competition in the industry, so that Kickstarter will like pay attention to the little guy, or pay attention to all the people when they're like, "Hey, I'm having this issue with my campaign," or "Hey, add this cool feature to Kickstarter." They don't need to add features if they're making tons of money as it is anyway, so. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's worth it to just be like, well, I guess I'm going to pay my percentage to have the amount of eyeballs that Kickstarter has, because it's massive,
Yeah, that's true.
So, but yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that is our game, or our news. Next, we have the games that we have been playing. I know Kit and Courtney have played a massive amount of games over this last week.
Probably not as many as Kent would have liked to have played.
It never is, but we did okay.
But this first one, I think this was this on the Hot Games table, the After Us?
Yes. So this was on the Hot Games table at Dice Tower East. We played this one. It's a fairly new game by Catch Up Games. I'm not sure the designer, but it's Vincent Dutray art, which is typically what draws me into these, any kind of game. And it's essentially a kind of like a deck builder, a simultaneous deck builder. And thematically, it is, I guess, post-apocalyptic, and apes have taken over the world, or apes are in the world, or whatnot. You start with a deck of apes. I think they're Tamarin apes. And as you're playing, you're going through, pretty much everyone plays at the same time. You're going through phases, and you're laying your cards out in front of you. You're going to everyone starts with like a generic deck, like a normal deck builder. You lay your cards on the table, and you're kind of lining up these different brackets that give you resources, or let you get points, or do various little things. And it's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of, I don't know, maybe like a like a kind of a lining up cards thing, like in Tainted Grail, or maybe a little bit like The Witcher. So it's all about like the card positioning and how the cards link to the other cards. You can kind of rearrange a little bit, but you only get 4 cards, so you really can't do but too much adjusting. So you're trying to adjust your cards to get some resources, and everyone's doing this at the same time. You're going to be collecting your resources, getting your points, or getting whatever the cards give you. And then everyone's going to have these discs that let you attract new apes to your deck, basically get a new card. And everyone's gonna pick one simultaneously, flip it over, and then depending on which one you picked, that's where you get to take apes from, or you have the opportunity to purchase. So there's like gorillas, there's orangutans, there are mandrills, there's something else. Anyway, you're getting those apes, and each one focuses on like a different aspect of kind of like deck building. So like the gorillas were good at calling cards out of your deck, and you move up the whole track and let you call cards and stuff. But then also there's a bonus action on each of those tokens. So if you pick, I think if you pick the chimpanzees, it lets you do like a repeated action on one of your cards you played earlier. But you also can benefit from your neighbor's tokens. Like, so if you get a bonus action of like somebody in your left or right, you can I think you spend some resources to get their action also. And then you're buying cards, which is kind of weird from a deck, but you're buying cards face down. So you either buy a level 1 card for 3 of whatever resource, or a level 2 card for 6. And their level 1 cards are definitely better than what your starting cards are, but then you're really trying to work towards those level 2 cards because they have really good ways of generating points. So they have really good matching banners on them that match up with other cards. So it's all about kind of planning on what you want to do and kind of focusing on the apes that each ape has a kind of a special power, and focusing on whatever that ape's power is. So essentially that's all you're doing over and over until someone gets 80 points. It plays really fast, even goes up to 6, but there's not a ton of interaction in the players except for that kind of using that bonus action on their tokens that I had mentioned earlier. But it's got really good artwork. It's kind of puzzly in some ways, trying to figure out what you want to do for your deck. And it looks great. It's probably one that I would say could play with maybe newer gamers, or it wasn't super heavy or super difficult to play. There can be some like maybe AP kind of situations that people are really, really trying to optimize lining up their cards and stuff, or really trying to map out what they do. But it's pretty fun, and I would say if you like deck builders, it's probably worth a try. If you want a lot of interaction, I would say maybe stay away from this one, but it's fun and puzzly.
Most deck builders don't have much interaction in them at all, I don't think.
Yeah, unless it's a head-to-head deck builder, a lot of times it's not.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about this is, like, most deck builders, I dread, like, playing with more than 2 people because it just takes so long. Everybody's trying to figure out what cards they want to get. But this we played, I think, with 5, and it was super fast, and everything was simultaneous. And since the decks are face down, you can't just sit there and agonize over, what card do I want? It's this, okay, I want this type of card, so I'm getting this one. I have no idea.
Somebody put out all of their cards at the same time when they're
you just get you put your token out and you just take the top card of the deck, whatever it is you get, but you know what ape is going to be, and you know what those apes' powers are generally.
That's awesome.
So you don't know exactly what the card's going to be, but you know kind of what the card will do or what it focuses on.
I am a huge fan of simultaneous stuff.
Yeah, so I really like simultaneous stuff too. So it's and we don't really mind the kind of multiplayer solitaire feel, or even kind of like the low interaction.
Yeah, I feel like the main interaction with this one was the race to the 80 points.
Yeah, it feels like a race. You're right. It feels very much like a race.
Dominion's very similar to that. I mean, I still love Dominion, and it has not much interaction except for those attack cards, and most people don't even like to play with those.
Yeah.
I don't even like to play with those. So
right.
Yeah, it's just building up combos. It's just most deck builders are just about building up those combos.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This one is not you can get combos, but it's more like you're trying to go for this ape, and you get some cool cards that can do some stuff related to that ape, but it may not come out that way. But it still feels satisfying to line those cards up in such a way where you're like, oh, I can do this, and let me get this stuff, and then I can go buy this thing, and it's fun and satisfying for sure. But that is After Us.
Nice. So Rob, you're talking about your 4th of July experiences and games.
Yes, sir. Sorry, boss. We were playing. We went to my father's for the 4th of July, and I love my dad. I love my family, but we play old people games. We played Aggravation again, but this time I got to play with my wife and my kids, as well as my dad. It's such a simple game. I love the board presence. Um, it's you just you rolling dice, and you on a one and a one and a six, you get to move your dice out, and you got to just go around the board, and then you can cut people off. At one point, we had my 10-year-old crying because she was about to win the game, and we were like, Bradley, you're not about to win this game. And so we all kind of like ganged up on her and tried to, because if you land on somebody else's marble, you can send it back home, and you can choose which marbles you move. And so she was starting to freak out because we're all like hunting after her. So she's trying to get her last marble all the way around, and we're missing like by one. It's like super close, and I finally got her at the end. And then I was about to win, but then my wife won. So Marlo, if you're listening, screw you, but I love you. So that's Aggravation. A fun, simple game, not hard at all to play. Very, very fun, very, very simple. Then we also played Sequence. Sequence is a game where it's basically 4 decks of cards. You got 2 decks that are flat on the board. Sequence already has the cards on. The corners are oh my gosh, not bonuses, wild cards. The corners are wild cards, and everybody's dealt 6 cards, and you have to try to get runs of 5. So you can see in my hand there, I've got like the 2 of spades. I'm looking on the board to where there's a 2 of spades. Jacks are wilds, like a one-eyed jack removes a card, and a 2-eyed jack can be a wild. And so you're playing with teams, and so you're trying to get runs. So this was a lot of fun. We probably played this the most. Well, not probably, we definitely did. Because it's a lot of take that. It looks really simple, right? It's just, you get your cards, and you and your teammate are trying to get your runs. But then other people are like, screw you, I'm going to interrupt your thing. And or they'll play a jack and they'll remove one of your cards and stuff. And so there's a lot of like, it looks very simple, but at the end of the game, like it was my dad and I versus Brenda and my wife. And at the end of the game, my dad and I, we were getting our butts kicked, and we were pissed, and we're like, play it again! Screw you, girls! Play it again! And so we'd shuffle the cards and play again. I think if you have anybody, older people in your life that like to play like Rummy or Canasta or something like that like card games, this is like a fun sort of take that card game, because it's very simple. You just put down the card that you're dealt, and you try to get 5 in a row. Now, once you get 5 in a row, whether it's diagonally or horizontally, vertically, however you want to do it, those chips that you see, those blue and red chips, they actually can play up to 3 teams because it comes with blue, red, and green chips. You flip the chips over, and on the other side, they have like white markings on them. Once the white markings are on a set of cards, you can never use those cards again. So, like, let's say you're doing a diagonal in the middle of the board, and you get your run of 5, right? Well, now in the middle of the board, you have like this huge block that you can't use any of those 5 cards. So you could like cross people out and get in their way and stop them from doing stuff, because now your 5 that you flipped over completely break up, and they can't ever be used again. So it's one of those things, you're trying to race to finish your 5. There's a lot of take that. It was definitely a lot of fun. Great family game. And I've never played before. We learned how to play in like 5 minutes. I would highly recommend it, especially with like the grandmas, grandpas, but even my wife and I, we were talking about, man, we should just get it for ourselves, because it's something really quick. Like, once you know how to play, you can play really quick, and I love that whole take that. Because there was twice, and Marlo, I hope you are listening. Again, screw you. There was twice that she pulled her jack, and she took off some of my cards, and then Brenda put down what they needed, and they won the game. I think we played it like 6 or 7 times, and they won like the first 5, and my dad and I won the last 2. And so we didn't harp on the first 5 that they won. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And since my dad and I won the last 2, we're just going to go off of that. So we were the champions, and then we left, and I almost got in a car accident because of a green firework. But it was very fun, very simple, and really enjoyed it. It's called Sequence. I think you can get it like on Amazon for like $30, and it comes with all the stuff you see there, as well as the green chips. So, because my family, you guys, we've talked about in the past, they're big card players. Like, they won't ever play the ape game. Like, yeah, right. I try to present it to my kids, throw it at me, right? Like, like, that's the stupidest thing. You want to go ape? I'll beat the crap. That's us going ape. So, but I could play this game. I think I could get my family to play a game like this. So if you have that New Yorker or that Boston who wants to play the cards and have fun, I think this is a great game. Sequence, very simple, very easy to learn. Go check it out.
So the Sequence board, how, like, is there a pattern to like all the cards on the board itself? Because I'm like trying to understand
It's
There's a
literally
little bit
two
of pattern.
decks. It's
Like,
two decks that are just. I mean, yes, there is a pattern because those cards are copied onto the board, but it's
Yeah.
literally just two decks of cards with each four corner as a wild. That's it.
Right, I get that, but like I'm trying to figure out like the
No,
face
it's all over
cards.
the place. It's all over the place. So
So
like
how do you
you'll,
think they made that board
I think somebody just
originally?
spilled two decks of cards
Yeah,
and
I was
like
gonna say, just
and they
random.
just literally
That'd be
just put it
hilarious
down.
if like the very first one is like they're like, okay, these are these and this is this, and they just kind of like randomize it a little bit, and they're like, this is forever the sequence board like this.
Yeah, and you could
That's
play without the sequence board. Like you could make it your own, but I the board doesn't make any sense because in some of the rows you'll see a bunch of hearts and diamonds together, and then you'll see like a little cluster of diamonds. It literally looks like someone
I
just dropped two
I
decks
know
of
that's
cards
why it's hurting my
and scattered.
head.
Um,
It looks like they dropped a half shuffled deck onto the
yeah,
table.
Yeah.
but see, you get two decks that you're shuffling together, and
Uh,
everyone's just dealt six cards. So you play a card down, then you pick up a card. You play a card down, you pick up a card. So you're going pretty quickly. Like, the
that's good.
turns don't take very long, and you're just trying to match up. And so you might have cards. And my dad and I love my dad, God, but he's so annoying to play with sometimes. Like there'd be nobody in this corner, and he would have like let's say you see where all those red are in the game. We were red, and I would try. You see how on my picture I'm trying to make a line of red. I think right after this, my dad in the corner that's in the bottom left hand corner we're looking at, all of a sudden just said, "Hey man, nobody's over here. Let's try something over here, bro. We're almost at five here. Like, what are you doing? Like, help me, help you."
This is
And
like
so it was just kind of fun because he's just off in his own world. And then Brenda and Marla and I were all laughing and just we had a good time. It was silly. We played each game in like 20 minutes.
is it wrong that it gives me like Ticket to Ride vibes, like the way you describe it?
Sort of. And the game was over
Blocking each other's
one,
routes and like
once
playing
one-
cards out.
bro. When you
runs of
block,
cards.
that's a big deal too. People get mad. There were some fighting words. But once you get two rows of five, once you get two sets of five, you win. So the games are quick, fast. You move on. Not as exciting or as cool or sexy as y'all's games, but it was fun. It was a good game. That and aggravation, good family games. So
This reminds me a little bit of the game of 49ers Zillionaires, as far as like what you're supposed to do. It's like you're trying to get lines, but you're trying to get it's auction based, but yeah, it's very similar to like placing the disc out and trying to get five in a row or whatever.
Oh, nice.
my family used to play this a lot, like before I met Kent, where I got into the
It's
like,
pretty popular.
overall
I think
board
my
gaming
family
holiday,
played it
but we
too.
played it a lot too.
I
It's
never
good.
actually played it, but yeah, it's
Nice.
well known, I think.
it was a lot of fun.
For me, my game, I played at Dice Tower East. Somebody came up to me, or a nice guy came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, I messaged you about playing Ziya, last Dice Tower East, and like I know we never got around to doing it. Do you wanna play Ziya?" And like normally, if somebody wants to like just pick up a game of Ziya and play it, that's a bit of an ask. But I was like, I have free time right now, shockingly, so I'm like, let's play Ziya. So we played Ziya. I put up a players wanted sign, and we got another guy to come in, and we played a 3-player game of Ziya. And I enjoyed, because neither of them had played it before, and it was just such a fun experience, like showing a game that you really enjoy, like a game that's in my top 10 to other people is just so much fun. Like being like, okay, this is how this works, that's how that works, and just getting into those games and teaching games that like you really enjoy to other people is just a blast. And one of the crazy things about Ziya is one of the rules for Ziya is if you roll a 20 while like taking an action or whatever, you get an actual just point in the game. And we were playing to like 10 points. So I rolled a 20 on the die, and I felt terrible about this because I'm teaching the game. Honestly, I wanted the guys to have a good time. I wanted them to enjoy it, and like I kept rolling 20s. I rolled 20s 5 times.
And you just smashed them all.
Well, no, we figured out in the rules that you only get a point once per turn for doing that. Because how many times are you gonna roll a crit in on a D20? I should have played D&D with you, Rob. That would be even better. 20, 20, 20. Rob would have been like, and now every time you roll a 20, you're cursed. Because that's what you should do, honestly. But it was fun. I ended up getting just 3 points off of it, but I felt like, holy crap, this is insane. But they had a lot of fun with it. We went through all of this stuff. I just love the upgrading of the ships in this game and the exploration and like how everybody can play the game slightly different. One guy was like, I'm going to buy a ton of cubes and drop cubes off on the other side of the galaxy. Another guy was like, I'm just going to explore everything. And I was just having fun doing a little bit of everything. I just have a blast with this game. Ziya is always a ton of fun to play. And I know it's not a new game, but it's just one that I've had repeat fun with every single time I play it. So, Ziya.
Nice.
Nice. Also, don't play it with people who have AP, right, Rob? Like, no comment.
All right.
Courtney.
All right. So I guess it's pronounced Arceus Society. Arceus Society. I don't know. It's the new the new implementation of Ethnos by Palamori. And so we got a chance to play this, and because we're pretty big fans of Ethnos, so we want to try this one out. And it's plays pretty similarly. You have all the different kind of factions, which are all different, like kind of exploring characters that give you like little special powers, like the Ethnos did. So you're either picking up cards to kind of collect sets, or playing out those sets. So it went really fast. I think we played with maybe 5 or 6 people.
I think it was 5. Yeah.
Kind of the main difference that we found with this one over Ethnos is instead of, with Ethnos, you're putting out little pieces to do like area control on the different areas of the map, whereas this one was more going up on different tracks to score different points. So basically, you're not really competing with other people per se, as far as every if you're up on that far on that track, you get that number of points, which Kent and I found made it like super easy to score when we were doing the scoring between the rounds, which was kind of nice, because I know we've had issues with Ethnos before where it's like, okay, this person has the most, so they get this number of points, and then you have to have that and then have that. So it's just like a weird thing with Ethnos. We were always kind of debating how many points each person gets. So that always ended up being a thing.
It just took a little while.
That took a while. But this one was, it's super easy. Okay, this person's up this far on this track, so they get this many points. And each track was different, and each one scored differently. Some of them, gave you different, things when you, let you draw cards when you moved up on the track. There was another track that, you had to move up. You had 2 pieces on that track, so you had to move them both up to get that many points, or you had to get the lower one if you hadn't moved them up equally. And there was one that, if you were this far, you got negative points, and then the next space was positive points, and the next space was negative points. So it's like you really had to watch where you were playing on that one, so you end up getting positive points from that track. I think we liked it. The art's definitely a little bit better, yeah, so that was fun. It was good to try that, and I think we liked. Or I'm not huge on area control in games, so I kind of liked this version better. It seemed more. I feel like it's more of a modern thing to move up on tracks in games now. Like a lot of games are doing that, so that seemed to modernize the game now. But I could see how other people who really liked that area control aspect and fighting for those different areas kind of made that was their favorite part of the game. So I could see how people that liked that aspect of Ethnos wouldn't like this newer version, because there's definitely a lot less player interaction, I feel like, than the Ethnos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard people that I haven't played this one yet. I'm actually excited and interested to try it out. I've heard a lot of people that say exactly what you just said. It's like, oh, I like the area control. I like this one better. Oh, I'm not as big on the interaction and trying to fight over things. I like this one better. So it's kind of interesting to hear. I thought that this was going to replace Ethnos for people, just because people were like, oh, I didn't like the art for this, or it's just this and that. But now I'm wondering if you'll have that divide, which will be interesting.
Oh yeah. So.
After thinking about it, it's definitely pretty different in how it actually ends up scoring and stuff, but they're both very fun and satisfying. It's the same system, which is a great system.
Yeah, it's super quick and fast. It is. I found myself getting kind of frustrated playing it though, because it was it felt so lucky. I just couldn't get the cards that I wanted, and so it was I think I ended up losing. I was almost. I don't think I was in last place, but I was pretty close. But it was kind of frustrating because I was like, okay, I'm not getting the exact cards that I want. So, but I mean, it's quick, so it's not like it's that frustrating or it doesn't last that long. So
I do think this one's quicker than Ethnos, just because of the way it scores.
yeah,
It's
the
quicker to
scoring part is
score,
definitely
so you can just
quicker.
get through it quicker.
Interesting. Yeah,
comparison.
Ethnos always felt like a very quick game with the card play.
Yeah.
What do you think about this board versus the other one, Rob?
And those boards are modular, so you just flip them around and.
Yeah, they both have different sides. So
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know. Ethnos is weird. I'm not even this type of person, but I think Ethnos is becoming a side chick for me. It's like, look, the board and everything is ugly, but like, don't leave. Like, please don't leave. Just like, come on, like you do really good things for me, so like, just stay right there. I like the art of the original one better. Like, I don't like this whole zoo animal type of thing that's going on. Like, I like the giants and the elves and the dwarves and all those other kind of guys that were happening. So this is, I don't know, this is too cute for me. Like, it's nice, it looks nice, but yeah, I don't know. I wish the old board matched the card art. That was my biggest problem. The card art didn't match the board, and then you had these like bright pastel colors for your chips, and then you have like this super dark skeleton warrior who's about to like rip your face off, and then this crazy dragon, but this beautiful pink plastic token. So I'm just going to consider this a whole other game. That's not Ethnos.
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah,
that's just
I think it is
another game that's similar to Ethnos. So, but I don't know. Compared to Ethnos, I even tried to play it like a few weeks ago. I couldn't. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I prefer Ethnos just because I like that theme better. Like, I don't know. I'm just not in a point in my life where I want to play with animals. Like,
there's the only animal in the game is the monkey card, which replaces the dragon
It's mostly
card.
like compasses. And
that's
stuff
the
like
only animal.
It's like the totem of the monkey.
Well, what are those other cards? What are the factions? And
It's
stuff?
almost
they're all
archaeologists.
different explorers. So there's like an
Hey, screw
aviator.
explorers.
There's I don't know.
They're just different people.
They're just different types of people. That like there's like a scholar or a
Yeah.
like a
Forget scholars.
mercenary type person or I don't know.
I completely agree with Rob on everything he said. Basically, I feel, especially the animal part. No, I think this is gonna be very much like this kind of game is gonna be Kent and Courtney's game, and then Ethnos is gonna be mine and Rob's kind of game. It's very much like the divide. I like the player interaction of the air control. I recently played Ethnos we did a 24-hour marathon and we replayed it again, and I'm like, man, I just need to play Ethnos. Like, that game is just so solid. It's so quick and the way it works. And that tension of like, dang it, Rob just took... He like, we're equal on that area now. And like, we're going to tie for the points and split it. And like, I need to put another one over there.
Dragon's coming. Like, what are we going to do?
The dragon's about to come. Let me try to get more, and maybe I'll go for that color so I can pass him back. No, Rob just got... Now he's first in that space.
Yeah.
But do I even fight now? Because if I go there now, then it's going to be tied. Like, do I even go there at this point? Maybe I just go somewhere else completely. I mean, that tension is just an interesting thing to me of like passing each other back and forth. And it can play at pretty high player counts still really quickly, which was really fun.
Yes, for sure.
We played a 6-player game, I think, and it was like really quick. And I'm like, man, Ethnos is just good. And I want to try this just so that I personally have that like comparison point. But from what everybody's told me, it sounds good, but maybe in a different way, you know?
The powers of the tracks feel really cool though. Like you get special powers as you move up on the tracks or get special benefits. That is a nice bonus for sure.
And see, I love that for you. I love that for you, Kent. I'm just like, wow, man. Look at Kent.
But it's good.
He's
It's
so powerful.
good.
He's moving up on tracks in life, which you already.
But it makes you feel like you're doing combos like with the card play. You know, if you like doing like I'm gonna do this, and it lets me do this thing, and then bam, and you get all this stuff.
Look at that head action right there. Makes it. Ugh. Yeah, I think that's great for you, man.
You know what? You really could realistically just add point scoring in Arceus Society. All you need to do is take the same point tokens almost that you have in Ethnos, and you could probably just put first on track, second on track, last on track. Yeah. Split it up like that. Same thing. Just about.
I think Nick makes I don't know if you meant to say this in the chat, but he's talking about Indiana Jones. And that's kind of the theme. So, but I wouldn't want to play Indiana Jones as this card sort of game. Like, I'd want to do something else. Maybe not like a dungeon crawl, but I don't know, something different. But I don't know. It just nothing about it like the whole monkey see monkey or no monkey see no monkey here no monkey do type of thing. Like okay, that's cute. So if you like that, good for you guys. Good for you, Kent. Good for you, big guy.
Well, the theme does nothing. I mean, who cares about the theme?
See,
On either game, but
I care about the. Oh,
I don't. But they're both good. I like both those games.
I'm gonna mute myself again. Okay.
You ran off Rob again. No. So yeah, the next thing we want to talk a little bit about Dice Tower East and experiences and things going on. And Rob, you could think about some questions to ask us for Dice Tower East or chastise us.
We
for
missed
not
you,
dragging
Rob.
We definitely did miss you.
I miss being there. I really wish I was there, and I do have a couple questions for you guys actually.
One thing we did play together there was Thunder Road, and Thunder Road would have been amazing with Rob because
And you played with 6 people. How do you do that with 6? I thought the expansion only.
You shouldn't, but we did.
Technically,
You're not supposed to.
not supposed to, but we did it.
Well, I want to know how you did it because my expansion for Thunder Road just came in, and I'm super excited to learn how to play it, especially this holiday season because my in-laws love Downforce. I taught them Downforce, and so now I'm like, look, this is sort of Downforce, but guns and you can kill each other. I can get my father-in-law on board. My daughters are already excited to play. So I'm excited to play Thunder Road. I haven't played it yet, but now I have the stuff for it. So it looks amazing. How did you guys like it at 6? Do you think it's viable at 6?
Instead of down
I think it
force,
is.
it's downtime.
It's
It
the
is downtime,
downtime. There's a lot of downtime.
I think we've only played it at 5 every time we've played it, just about. So it's not that much more downtime than 5. But there's definitely downtime, for sure.
But is it like Ziya downtime where you can like go not only just order a meal, but then eat the entire meal and then get dessert and then go shopping for a little bit, then come back and then still
I would
wait.
say there's enough downtime that you could run your entire like con shift.
Yeah, that's what Roy
turns.
did. He was working the whole time.
Allegedly.
He was like,
Allegedly, you could run your entire con shift in between turns.
Okay.
Anyway, I was like, hey, I need you guys to kill me in this game. We're going to play it for 30 minutes. I need you to kill me really quick. Because I always die early in Thunder Road. Because I play against Ruthie. And all she does is kill me super quick. So
I was trying. It was not for lack of trying.
There's a lot of targets in this. When you're playing with 6 people, there's a lot of people to shoot at.
And it
So it's
bottles
hard to
down
really-
a little bit.
yeah,
You can't
you get
move
some-
as far. And so I think with this is like, you start out on the table with 3 boards. And typically you eventually add a board where with 6, it like somebody died, not quickly. I wouldn't say quickly, but somebody died before we could even get to the 3rd board. So or the 4th board. I mean, so like that we only had those 3 boards, and I don't think, and everybody I think made it onto the 2nd board. I don't like 1 or 2 people made it to the last board. But it was just it was. Yeah, so I don't know. I would recommend that 6.
Start off to the 3, and then once somebody gets to the end of the 3rd, you go to the 4th, and that's it. Like that's the
No.
You keep going. You keep going until somebody gets eliminated.
Yeah.
And then that's when the
that
finish
puts the
line
finish
comes
line.
out.
Yeah. Unless you're 2-player, and then it's 5 boards.
Oh, so you keep playing until somebody's completely eliminated, and then the rest of the players are trying to finish to the finish line after that?
Yeah.
Oh,
So you really want to, like, it almost encourages you to gang up on one person, just take them out.
I
But
feel
it's
like
hard
almost
with how many
every game
players.
I've played has only been 3 or 4 boards normally.
Yeah. Usually, yeah.
Just because somebody gets eliminated so quickly normally. But I still love it.
It's still so fun. It's so chaotic, but it's just a lot of fun.
I mean, even in the 6-player game, there was a massive amount of downtime, and I don't think that I would recommend it, but it was still fun. That's the
Yes.
thing. Is
Oh,
like
for
the
sure.
game is still fun.
And we
Watching
added
people
everything in there too,
blow
like all
up
the
and watching people
expansions
run
and
into the
stuff.
walls and watching people argue over if the mud token takes away one
Yeah.
movement or not, and you go and you shake down the publisher and you're like, tell me about this move, Kent, tell me about this move thing, and then they're like, it's the mud was always there, Kent. And then you come back and they're like, we already looked up on Board Game Geek, Roy. Why did you beat up Justin Jacobson? And
And
I'm
you
like,
argue about who rolls the dice when the slams happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
but no, it was a lot of fun. And I wanted to be on fire, but my fire kept extinguishing, and that's just a disappointment.
But yeah, it's still a fun game. I like it a lot. You don't have a lot of control, but it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, so to play 6 players, you have to play with the motorcycles and the big rig, right?
Yeah.
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 And the big rig's crazy because it goes slower, but like it just pushes everybody out of the way and pushes everything out of the way.
Yeah.
And the motorcycles can slip through people and get where they want to go, but if anybody runs into them, the motorcycle always goes flying.
Yeah.
And it was the motorcycles that won.
I think in a high player count game, those motorcycles, they can slip through everybody.
It's
That's a
probably
huge
really,
advantage
really good, yeah.
when you have that much congestion on the road. I think that helps a lot.
I do wonder if like the
5 and 6
roads were a little bit wider, or if the board was a little bit wider with more just like regular road, it wouldn't like the 6 player wouldn't be as big of an issue. But the game's just not made for that high of a player count, really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is funny that Kent will play the game at 6 players, though it's not in the rule book. But arguing back and forth about the mud token, he can't just assume that the mud makes you lose 1 point when you flip it over.
No, I mean I was
The rules say
I
not
could
to play at
see
6
either-
players.
I could see
but
it
the
going either
mud,
way. Based on the wording in the rule book, it was it was like technical. If you go a very technical interpretation, then yeah, I could see it being the other way. But yeah, I get it. Thematically, it doesn't make any sense. You have to go with the one that you're already in the mud.
I'm much more of those. I can assume the designer's intent very quickly.
Right.
Kent's very much just like, well, we might never know.
I just wanted to know definitively, and we found
Well,
out.
that's what Justin's there for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we figured it out.
That's awesome. Did you have any? What were some of your questions or things about Dice Tower East, Rob?
Well, first one, since we're now like officially out of the pandemic stage, the CDC has dropped. How did this one feel crowd-wise compared to other ones? Because I guess this is like the first one where we didn't necessarily, or there weren't all the restrictions. The first Dice Tower I ever went to, I think it was like 3,000 to 4,000 people, and the one we had last year was like 2,500 max. And so, how did this one feel? What did it live up to the hype? Was there a lot of people there, or did it stay the same? So that's my first question.
I think it sold out as far as like the number of people that were doing. It's still Dice Tower Eastish, so it's like less people in general than it used to be like way back in the day. But it still felt pretty full. I mean, there were like the tables are slammed like day one. I think they brought in more tables, or had to bring in more tables. I remember we were having conversations about like, there's a lot of people playing 2 players at one table. Maybe we can make 2 players sit beside another 2 players. You know,
Did you have other parts of the convention center though rented out? Because I think the first year I ever went to Dice Tower, there was nothing rented out. Like last year they had a cheerleading competition, and so that whole area was just tables. So it was nice because you could go to other areas where it's a little more quiet rather than
we had a lot of like extra rooms. We had like a big games room and like a more quiet room and like a social reduction room and stuff like that. And there were people playing in all those rooms. I would walk through and see a bunch of people playing, but they weren't nearly as packed as the main hall, you know.
Yeah, and this was also I think it was the same last year. The exhibitor hall was in the kind of meshed into the main room. When in previous years or before it was East, it was like its own separate area. I think before East, they like rented out almost the entire place. And this time they definitely had like quite a few rooms, but it wasn't like the whole convention center area. Which
makes sense because now they don't have that money because now they're paying Roy. So before, like, they had their income and they could afford that, but now Roy's there and it's like, crap, you don't get a couple rooms.
But it felt space-wise felt good.
When
I
it was
say
before.
Yeah.
We never had issues finding a table. Sometimes it took us a little while to get to one, but like we definitely could always find a table. But it did seem on certain times it was pretty packed for sure. But it didn't feel overly crowded or anything like that. So not to me at least.
Second, this might be the most important question. Best meal of the con. Best meal of the con, and this is also in honor of Matt. I saw you guys went to Cogino's.
Giordano's.
Giordano's.
Yeah.
It had a G in there. You went to and you had the deep dish. Thank you, Courtney, for that.
I had to rub it in.
It's okay though. I'm not allowed to eat that stuff right now, so I signed up for a 10K. So I'm yay. I'm an idiot. Anyway, what was the best meal of the con?
For me, we went to several places, but for me, I the last day, and me and Ruthie had been there before, but we went to the Indian place across the street. That's like super close. I went to a bunch of other places, but I love Indian food, and like that place was really, really good. And I like just tikka masala, garlic naan, and mango chutney. You have to get the mango chutney. Mike Delisio got me on the mango chutney, and my life has not been the same, you know. But I really enjoy Indian food, so that was really, really good for me. And Ruthie is literally in the other room dancing and pretending to eat food in the air. That's how good it was.
I like Indian food as well, so I'll join you next time.
I'd love to go there. We've not been.
It's so close. It's like I think it's literally the closest restaurant that's not.
Right. It's pretty. Yeah. It's really close. Except getting across that. Just getting
like
across to
Frogger.
it is terrible.
Isn't like a 4-lane highway?
Yeah.
I'll drive you next time,
think.
Kent, if you need me to. Oh wait, you have a vehicle there, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. But yeah.
They have to for selling all of those games. So how about Ken Courtney? What was your favorite meal?
We didn't do a ton of
Try the deep dish.
We went to the deep dish place twice.
Oh, wow.
We didn't intentionally mean to, but on the last night, everybody wanted pizza, and we're like, oh, we'll go to the pizza place across next to the Indian place. And you couldn't eat in there, so we're like, oh, we're going to go somewhere we can actually sit down and eat. So then we were like, well, I guess we can go to the same pizza place we already went to. And we did, and it was good. So that's probably the best one.
Nice. What's the name of it?
Giordano's. Or
go there.
Bro,
it's like just a little further down the road.
It's
it's
the pizza.
Listen, I have 4 kids. We went to Cece's.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Let me tell you about Cece's pizza.
Cece's Pizza with Florida Man, I imagine, was an experience. All right, next question, and my last, because I want to hear more from you guys. But out of all the games that you played, what was your favorite? Maybe not the best game, but what was your best gaming experience?
That's a different question then.
Your best game? I know mine for sure.
What's yours? While they think about theirs, what's yours?
It was
go ahead,
Expeditions, the new Scythe sequel.
Oh yeah.
It was a great experience, and it was a fun game. So I like it a lot.
And
it's probably my favorite of the con.
It's just an expansion of Scythe, or is
no?
it
It's a whole new game. It's a whole new game in the Scythe universe.
Okay.
You have a mech. You move around the board. It's it doesn't have any of the attacky stuff of Scythe, but it's more of like the racing to get the stars out and stuff like that. And it's a lot of card play and a lot of card combos, kind of. And you feel very unique because it's like all these cards do all sorts of weird, crazy things. So it makes you feel, like very asymmetric fairly early, I'd say. But it's fun, and it's got really great production and all that kind of stuff.
And it was cool. They actually released, like, they had copies for sale there of Expeditions.
Oh yeah,
which was a big surprise.
Which was really cool because I'm like, holy smokes, this is like a big game that hasn't really ever been released much of anywhere. I mean, I know you could do the pre-orders through Jamie's store or whatever, but like,
and we pre-ordered it and still haven't gotten it yet. So
so the fact that you can buy it at the con was like huge. I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome.
Well, I think they partner with MeepleSource a lot, MeepleSource a lot, and it was cool. They had the MeepleSource one selling it because I don't think Stonemaier even has a presence at most cons. They don't really just budget for that. So, but that was really interesting to see, and I guess it was the first release.
I played that one at work with Chris. It's pretty fun. I like the actions and how quick those are in between the players and stuff like that. So the downtime can be not too bad but I mean, I guess you could get a lot if you're trying to combo the cards a lot, you know.
It can get a little bit longer towards the end of the game, I'd say, for sure, but it felt like it had a really steep learning curve at first. When I was like, when we got into it, we're like, "Whoa, what in the world is happening? What are we doing?" And then it just becomes so easy after you play it for a little bit. But it's like very intimidating, I'd say, to start it.
For me, there's like almost no interaction in that game, so it's just kind of
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
cool. It's
yeah,
just
not
just
very
a
much.
race to put your things down and build your little combos and like make it happen.
right.
Um,
You can block spaces, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a whole ton of stuff. You can
you
take
can
those
explore before the other players.
you can take
that
those
sort of thing.
corruption tiles because there are limited on those,
Right.
so you can take those away, and those are pretty big.
They are a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely not, doesn't have the interaction of sight as far as like the combat and the confrontation and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good.
So I think I guess I'll go next. I think I have two different answers, Rob. So I think my favorite experience of the con or playing a game was we played Miss Over Carcassonne, which is like the co-op version of Carcassonne, which I've been really excited to play, and it hasn't come out yet. So which I think I just liked that experience more because it's co-op. So like we were able to work together and kind of build this little map out together. And so Carcassonne's usually we play it kind of cutthroat, or Kent does, and so it was kind of nice to find that optimal tile and be able to place it in that optimal place, and with not having to worry about, oh, I'm gonna give this person so many points or whatever. So that was kind of neat. But I think my favorite game of the con was I think it's called World Wonders. We always got mixed the names, but which is like another tile laying game. That hasn't come out yet either, but that was like quick and easy turns, and I love tile laying games. So, but those are two of my favorites, I think.
Nice. For me, I did majority of what I did at this con was one, helping load everything up and get everything ready to actually do the con. But then Tom actually had Last Light as one of the hot games, like in the hot games area. So, and for me, that was almost like surreal, just being like having the sign there with like my game box on it was like, what? I mean, I thought they might do that, but like actually seeing it, and I put up the sign myself, so I was like, is it on here? What in the? It's on here, that sort of thing. Like flipping out like internally. But then like the game getting set up and like the fact that it got like we set it up right there as like one of the first hot games you see when you walk in, and like it was played non-stop. I taught it at least like 15 times.
It was always full.
Yeah, it was always
being
people
played,
sitting
I would
at
say.
it.
The best thing for me was the fact that so many people played it without me teaching them, and they learned it from the rulebook and played it, which I hadn't had that experience that much. I know people have done that on Tabletop Simulator here and there and still said good things about the game, but like I hadn't seen people like in person pick up the physical rulebook, read through it, and then be like, oh, we played it. Oh, the rulebook was intuitive. Oh, this and that, because we tried to put a lot of work on the rulebook. And holy smokes, like, and I was just always stopping by. Like Wayne said, I always stop by and be like, hey, is everything going good? Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any clarifications they need? And just like watching people just enjoy it. And so many people that like, I didn't even see them play the game, but they're like, oh, I played the game. And they came up to me and talked to me about it, which is so surreal and crazy to me. But like, I was like, it's happening, but then just still trying to like help encourage people to like keep doing it. Like I want to keep pushing this thing, but also I'm like, people are pushing it themselves. But then also at the same time, like there was someone's like, hey, the hot games area was good, but I really wish there was more copies of games. Like it was hard to get to the Last Light to the table because there was too many people crowded around it, sort of thing. It's like people were complaining about there being extra copies. I'm like, there are no extra copies. Like this is the one. There will be very soon, as in like there might be by now. I think Shane was getting copies in like this weekend or something like that, or maybe last weekend. So of like the deluxe version. But it was really exciting to see so many people that hadn't even heard about the game checking it out too. So that was really cool.
I'm so happy for you, bro. I think that's absolutely amazing. I love that for you. And I remember, I think you posted it somewhere on social media, and you posted like it was in the hot games, and I saw it on the banner. Man, first of all, congratulations. So proud, so happy. I know you put a lot of time in.
It feels weird,
Yeah. So here's the way I think about it. You're giving birth, and now your baby's here, right? So it's like, okay, like, yeah, I've got this thing and I've been working on it and cooking it, and now my baby's here because it's here. Like, aren't they releasing it at Gen Con?
They're definitely gonna have a Gen Con, and it's coming overseas like this month as well.
Yeah,
Like
Gen
they're putting
Con's
it
less than
on
a
the
month
ships. So they're putting it on the ships, and then it's gonna be getting to everybody,
Yeah.
like in August and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then hopefully the retail copies are gonna be hitting shelves in like September or like maybe like late September or something. I don't know. They got to get into distribution, then distribution has to send it out. I'm sure different stores do it different ways, you know.
That's so amazing.
But I mean, there was a bunch of stores that I'm sure did the retail pledge on the campaign as well, you know, so they'll have deluxe copies and stuff like that. So it's crazy because like, I mean, you can make a game or whatever, but then the fact that so many people are like buzzing and excited about it and like playing it and
Yeah.
like one person will play it and then they'll like go grab the people from their game group and force them to play it with them. Be like, I know this game, let's play, you know, and seeing that happen, you know, is pretty crazy. So, and when we were packing up, like they had to be like, we need to pack up last night now because if we don't, people are going to keep jumping in the game over and over again. We're never going to get it packed, you know. So it was kind of cool to see like how hot it was the whole time, you know. And it did kind of stink a little bit because there were so many people that were like, I wanted to play, but it was just always busy. And I'm like, well, hopefully soon there'll be more copies available, you know. I'm normally begging people to play it with me, like in the back corner of a place, you know. So it's just so different to see people like jumping on it themselves. So,
I thought it was great. I'm really happy for you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
and I did show Kent and Courtney. I was like, look, your name's right here on the back of the rule book,
Right,
right above Rob
beginning.
Newman,
Right before Rob.
Right above Rob?
Yeah.
right above Rob.
That's nice. I guess it's because I'm holding them up.
But no, it's funny. I don't even
This is
remember
always
the
and
order that
Rob.
got put in or how it happened, but it's cool. I'm excited about it all coming together finally.
Yeah, you better send me my copy. Like, I spent my money, all right? Like, get me my copy. This is ridiculous. I will start trolling. Like,
Yeah,
where's my
okay,
copy
same.
last night?
I can't wait.
Go post
Everybody
negative
better
comments,
take
right?
pictures with their copies of the game and stuff and like send them to me. Just
And
'cause
if
I think
there's
it'd be
one
awesome.
defect, OMG, I'm blowing it up. This game is ridiculous. Everything is broken. Roy's a liar. Burn it all down. No, I won't do that. I want.
Ah.
I know
Yeah.
next Dice Tower we'll have to bring it down so you can sign it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Bring our copy.
Yeah, I'm excited. People are like, "Do you think? Well, maybe we'll be able to play at the retreat." I'm like, "It should be out. Like, it'll super be out by the retreat." Like, I'm super excited about that.
Get a pen that'll sign. Like, get a white pen or something to sign on the box.
Oh, like I need like a silver one. Like I like.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? And Lance was telling me that they want to schedule a time for me to be at the Gray Fox booth at Gen Con to like just sign copies, and that's like, it's just kind of crazy.
That's
Kinda
awesome.
Crazy. But I guess I mean, I'm sure people are
Bro,
gonna
do you
swarm me at the
remember
Dice Tower booth
you
anyway.
you're Isaac. Do you remember the first time you and I were at Gen Con together and we were like, oh, that's Isaac Vega. That's Isaac Vega over there. Like, he's the one who made like the other one. Like, remember how giddy and excited we were? Like, bro, that's Isaac over there. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to be that for somebody at this Gen Con. Like, do you realize that? Like, they're gonna be like, oh my god, that's Roy Canada.
That's crazy to me. And I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I always want to make sure, like, whenever people come up to me, like, I love people coming up to me and talking to me about stuff and talking to me about things. I always want to make sure to, like, leave people with a good impression, you know? Because, like,
You are really good at that.
this
You
might
really are.
this might be the only time that person interacts with me, you know? So, like, I don't want people to have that, well, don't meet your heroes because this guy thing, whatever, you know? I want to, like, try to make sure to, like, I don't know. Like, I've always said, like, there are so many people that are friends with us or friends with us in different ways. Like, they know us or, like, watch things and see people. And then it's like, oh, they already know some of the quirks and things. But then, like, when you meet them, it's like you get to meet that person for the first time, you know, and get to, like, learn about their stuff. And it's already halfway there, you know. Most people you meet, you don't know anything about each other. But when they know stuff about you, it's kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things too is like when people still come back around. I had several people at Dice Tower East be like, "Man, I'm an OG like Epic Gaming Night like fan. Like, I'm so glad you brought the podcast back and stuff like that. I've been listening to it and stuff like that." I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool." You know, it's like it makes me feel like, man, you guys are the hardcore fans, you know. So,
Hopefully next time I'll be able to go.
yeah,
hopefully.
for sure.
Hopefully.
And we can always have a mini retreat or something down here someday, because I still could steal all the Dice Tower games.
Yeah.
When I had my friends in town, what was it, like, it was on a Saturday, literally all Saturday we just stayed at like my work studio and just played, like, constantly pulled games off the shelf and just played things the whole time. We did take a break for tacos, but then we came back and just played games. But yeah.
You have to stop for
Yeah,
tacos.
sounds fun.
And they're Miami tacos too. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would make more sense to have Cuban food in Miami than tacos, but still good.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. Are there any other
So,
experiences?
The other thing we had mentioned was we're big fans of the virtual flea market they have
Oh, yeah, for
at Dice
sure.
Tower East, so we always try to
Mm-hmm.
we try to do a big call before that, and we had worked on listing our games for months up on you kind of post your games ahead of time, and you get buyers arranged, and then you go there for the meetup and sell them, and we sold about 90 games, which was huge. It was great.
How difficult is that for, like, the pricing standpoint, like the prep and all that stuff?
It depends on the games, but
and how competitive do people want you to be on the pricing?
It depends on the people, but I typically price to move. Like I mainly want to get rid of the stuff, but it's pretty decent pricing because board gamers pretty much know the value of the games a lot of the time. Like, if you're trying to sell to people who don't really know hobby games that much, they're usually going to undershoot what the game's probably worth. But we're trying to make tons of money or anything like that. We're just mainly trying to get the games somewhere they're going to get played and just out of our house. So it's always a good thing to do for us. And
Yeah, and we got rid of all of them. So the ones we brought down, we got rid of.
Yeah,
so that
so
was,
it's a good
it wasn't
feeling.
like we had leftovers. So was nice.
That's a huge factor for us going down to this particular con is that aspect. Go ahead, Rob.
did you miss me when it comes to selling your games?
Oh, of course,
We
always
missed you the whole time.
Yeah, when we had Rob down there last year, he was just
Bro, I was
going out there and yelling.
I was hustling. I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
I was finding people, yelling people's names. I'm pretty loud, so it's kind of nice when you're in an already crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It gets crazy.
I'm
It
sure
gets
y'all had to
crazy.
stay there just a decent amount longer just because Rob wasn't helping you find your people.
No, I had to go. I took Rob's job, and I was like going down and like screaming
I
people's
literally
names.
can't imagine that. I cannot.
Yeah.
I miss being
But
there.
it was.
I
it
don't
was
miss
a lot of
you
people.
guys being on the top floor, but I did miss everything.
Yeah, we were on the top floor this year. So that was fun.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you guys sold what?
So we sold 93 games.
Shut
games.
up.
Oh my gosh! If you guys need to get rid of stuff, just like donate it. Just
Some of it we do, but
We have
it's-
donated stuff before, yeah. And
Yeah.
we take it to my my sister's house because they have my niece and nephew like play games. So
Yeah.
I'm in such a weird position because, like, I have games on my shelf that I haven't played since I was, like, in North Carolina, like, for a fact.
Yeah.
And, like,
That's what games are sometimes.
the only reason I have them is because they're some of my favorite games, but they're literally all, like, almost every single game I own is in the Dice Tower library, like, every single one. So, like, it's probably easier for me to play the Dice Tower library versions than for me to even play my own versions, and they're right there, you know.
yeah,
I mean, unless you happen to be at home, you don't want to go out and you just want to play it right then and there. Yeah.
Not to mention, like, the Dice Tower library ones are upgraded. Mine aren't. I can't
Yeah, that's
afford to
true.
upgrade mine. So it's just such a strange thing of, like, maybe I just flea market everything, but then I will always be tied to the Dice Tower library. Did you get a
Yeah.
commission, Rob? Does Kemp pay well?
Yes.
I bought you a
paid-
deep dish
bought-
pizza.
I bought you dinner.
did you?
Yes.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I got.
He
I
forgot.
guess. Yeah. I apologize, Nick in chat. I said no. But yeah, no, it's just fun, man. I just enjoy it. I love our crew. Like, I'm not gonna go do that for everybody. I don't want to go in the middle of the flea market where you have like all of these people, and the game I play there is who's taking a bath today. But I love Kent and Courtney, so it's just like, okay, I'll go be loud. And plus, I'm tall. For people that don't know me, I'm 6'4", so like, I stick my hands up and I start yelling. People notice me, and it's like,
They do.
so I just it's fun. It's fun. Man, I wish I would have gone though.
Yeah.
One of
Any
the
other
things-
highlights or big games or anything you?
Well, just one of the things I
any
want to say
highlights of
about
the con?
Dice Tower East in general, or just Dice Tower conventions in general, is like maybe this is just from an insider perspective, but I thought this before I even worked for the Dice Tower or did anything with the Dice Tower, is the fact that like the conventions are very much geared towards playing games, you know, and not only just playing games, but like we try to cultivate a culture where like people are willing to play games with other random people and are like super nice about it, I guess, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you have the players wanted flags and you have the teachers wanted flags, and there's always people ready to come up and show you a game that you don't know how to play or jump in a game with you. It's like just always just completely different and random people. You could just play games with different people all the time, you know? I know you guys go down there and you have a little bit of a crew, but there's still some people in that crew that mix up and switch out, you know, and change
Oh, yeah.
up
Yeah,
as
for
the games
sure.
go along. It's like there might just always be just one random person rotating into a game, or like, oh, now we're playing a social deduction game. Everybody who can jump in, you know. It's just always fun to play with completely different people and getting to meet new people, and just I just love how specifically Dice Tower events. There's other cons I've gone to that have tried to do that sort of thing, but they feel way more like just groups. Like there's a group here, there's a group there, there's a group there, and if you're outside of that group, it's really hard to get into specific groups. And I love that it's just all about just play games. Just play games with people, just have fun. Try out a new game. You don't know how to play the game, set up the game and put a flag down. Hopefully someone that knows how to play the game will come up and not only teach you how to play the game, but sit in your game with you and play it with you and walk you through the whole thing. You know, it's
Yeah.
just fun to see so many nice people playing games together.
Yeah, I can second that. With just finding people to play with at other cons besides Dice Tower events, it's just a lot harder. I feel like it just works so much easier at this kind of place. I don't know
And
why,
I don't
but
understand. Like, I don't know if it's just the culture or what it is that very much we're just like get out there and just play with everybody. You know.
yeah,
I think it's just the size, because like I just remember we went to the first PAX and it was enormous. Like I guess that's probably the biggest convention we've been to, and it was just the amount of people. It was so overwhelming, and so it was just hard to like find somebody that looked like they wanted to play a game with us, or find somebody that was getting ready to play a game. But yeah, with Dice Tower it's so much smaller and it seems more like intimate. Like, okay, I can wander over and start looking at what game you're playing and not feel like I'm a weirdo kind of looking at strangers, I don't know.
yeah, that's
Like-
true. It's like bigger than a normal small continent, in a regular, major city, but like it's smaller than the really, PAX and bigger kind of stuff, or Origins and bigger.
I would agree, but I think it's a mixture of things. I think Dice Tower does a fantastic job of creating an environment where people feel comfortable playing a game. And I think one of the main things that they do by doing that is the players wanted and teachers wanted type of a thing. Because then you're already putting yourself out there. You're already exposing, hey, we want more people, or somebody please teach me this game. And I think one of the beautiful things about Dice Tower is you're not so much there to sell product as much as you are to sell an experience, right? Like I go to Dice Tower, I'm not really going there to go buy a bunch of games. I'll go to Gen Con to buy games and then I'll get out because Gen Con's crazy. If I go to Dice Tower, I'm going to play games, and I think you guys do that really well. However, I also think, just from my experiences, I'm not saying that all board gamers are this way, but a lot of board gamers that I've met are more introverts. And so it's like, I think one of the things that's nice about Dice Tower is because you have those towers, it almost like drops a defense for some of those people where it's like, okay, I don't feel so bad approaching, or I don't feel like I can, like Courtney said, I can creep and watch the table and see what they're playing. And then, yeah, if this is something I want to play, sure, I'll sit down at the table with you because you already have a pillar saying you want me here, right? It doesn't say players wanted except for Robert Newman, which there might be
Right.
one next to it. It just says players wanted type of a thing. So
And
I don't.
I was gonna say I see those at a lot of cons, those things, and maybe it's just because we try to explain it well so that people understand what it means.
Well, I think it's that, and the majority of your con is playing area,
Yeah,
right? Like
That
you
helps
go
a
to
lot, too.
PAX, the majority of PAX is not playing area. they might have tables set up, but part of those tables are set up for tournaments. Part of those tables are set up for maybe games, but then they also have tables set up for food and things like that. And then they have a bunch of vendors. My experiences at Dice Tower, yes, you do have your vendors there, but you also close your vendor hall like at 7 o'clock or whatever the time is, and then it's just hundreds of tables to play. Like that's why you go to Dice Tower, East or West, is get a cool game and play with your friends at a vacation destination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where other cons, you don't necessarily have that feel. At least the other cons that I've been to. Like I like PAX. I like PAX more than I like Gen Con. Because I feel like you can play more at PAX than you can Gen Con. Gen Con's like
it's hard to even find a place to play. You have to play in the lobby of your hotel.
Bro, you have to play in the lobby or in your room. Yeah. And one of my biggest pet peeves with Gen Con is like they don't have enough inventory. Like you're trying to sell like the super hot game and you bring 100 copies for the day. Screw you, bro. There's 50,000+ people a day, 50 to 70,000 people a day. You're not even bringing 1%. Like, come on. Like, I understand. I get the logistics and things not coming in off of the container or the ships in time. I get all that. But Gen Con is like our U.S. Super Bowl of board game conventions. You're going there for the big stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like about Dice Tower is I don't have any anxiety about trying to get a game. I know I'm going to be able to play great games. I know you guys have a fantastic library. And we can just play a game. I may not be able to play the Last Light demo at the hot table, but you guys have thousands of other games at your library that I can play, and cool stuff is there. You can pre-order games, so it's just, it's nice. And I think it works well for the introverts. I'm not an introvert, so I'll play with anybody, whether you have a thing or not. Like I don't care. I'll just talk to you. But for a lot of board gamers, and again, this is not a reflection of Epic Gaming Night. This is, the soul of Robert Newman. I think a lot of board gamers are introverts. There are a lot of
I agree.
So I think you guys are more welcoming. Where me, I'm like, you better shut up and move over. I'm playing this game with you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think nerd culture in general is full of that kind of personality type. I mean, so it's kind of cool to have things that help break down those barriers and help bring people together, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I think another con that's similar to that or the similar sort of vibe is BGG Con, or like the same style of game. Because I've done most all the U.S. conventions now. Because I've done not the big ones. I did BGG Con. I've done Origins. Origins is a lot like PAX, but just an older. Like it's been around longer,
Yeah.
So it has like almost the same kind of like footprint as PAX does, and of course Gen Con is just like gigantic. That's all about just buying. Gen Con should just be about buying and learning about new games or demoing new games. And that's it. Or maybe tournaments. Gen Con has a lot of tournaments of stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Which I don't particularly like to do too much. Yeah, Board Game Geek Con is a con about playing stuff. It's just I feel like they're very much like Board Game Geek users, where it's like to you, you're a name on their BGG stats app, and this is the new high score that they just got against you. I don't know. It's very interesting. So, just a different vibe. But yeah, it's fun. I am going to go to the World Series of Board Gaming this year, which is a completely different thing. That's only tournaments, but they have an open play area. And they're going to have the Dice Tower West library at World Series of Board Gaming. That's in Las Vegas. That's interesting. Did you ever go to Dice Tower West, Courtney?
We never know. I think eventually we are.
Things to do, but yeah, we haven't done it yet.
Not yet, but it's in the plans eventually.
Yeah, that one's a blast. It's very much like, I mean, it's basically Dice Tower East, except there's probably some more events than they have at Dice Tower East. Like, we have more shows. Like, we'll have a top 10 list and things like that over there. And just, like, have designers talk and stuff like that. But then, yeah, it's the same thing. It's just a gigantic library and just people playing games, which is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, the vendor hall is about the same size. So... yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah. So any other Dice Tower East questions? Anybody in chat want to ask anything about Dice Tower East or anything? I do want to say thanks everybody for joining us here in chat. It's been fun seeing a few people here and there, in and out. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us here for Epic Gaming Night. Dun, 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 dun. And sorry for the delay of the episode. We had to hold this one back because half of the people that were here are here. More than half the people that are here were at Dice Tower East. So
Yeah.
We could have tried to maybe live from there, but that might have been a little too challenging.
I like doing that stuff, but it's so hard. Like the logistics of that is so crazy, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
And I only had 37 kids while I was there.
Yeah. That doesn't make anything easier.
Yeah, for sure. I did play a bunch of kids games too. We played you've played Hand to Hand Wombat?
Yeah, we played that.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, that was good.
Rob did too.
My kids like love that. I have a video where I was playing it with Scotty, Emma, and Violet. And Violet got the bad wombat or whatever. And we're playing, and like I'm reaching over trying to help Emma build this thing. And then I reach back, and me and Violet were building this one before. And like the pieces are in a different order. And I'm like, Violet, did you move this? And she's like, no, I didn't move it. And I'm just like, let me fix this. And I have the video, and you just see Violet like flipping everything upside down. It's just so funny. Like sitting here like purposely destroying it. It's just, I don't know, it's good fun. That game's a lot of fun watching back if you actually film yourself doing it.
Yeah,
you can see what's going on.
It's definitely a fun game to watch. Not all games are fun to watch, but that one's definitely fun to watch.
Especially if you have Rob's big hands going around in there.
I did feel bad though, because like when I was playing with my kids, I'm like big hands, and they're all like tiny little hands trying to sneak in there and like grab specific pieces. You know, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we're just all counting the number of pips on the side of these things. But yeah. Anyway. Live from the floor. Yeah, live shows from... Remember when we did a live show from Mace? Rob? We did a live show from Mace, and we were like, all right, everybody set up, and we interviewed a couple other board game media people that were there. That would be fun. That would be fun if we brought in other people too, like other guests. Like ask them stuff. That would be really fun. We might have to do that at one where, like maybe if it's like Dice Tower East next year or something like that, where we have a bunch of people that are actually able to go all together. You know, that'd be fun.
Or just check Kent and Courtney's schedule, because don't they go to like half of y'all's events? So
well, there were
not half, but
Easter's not really much.
Y'all go to a lot of events.
One thing I want to mention is the new game Imperial Miners from Portal is a lot of fun. Ignacy was here demoing it. We didn't do a lot of demos, but that was one of the ones we did kind of do a little playthrough of. And it's very combo building card game, you know, triggering. It's like engine builder kind of thing, and it's quick and fast and fun. So it's definitely one to watch out for.
We played a few prototypes too.
Yeah,
all
definitely.
Prototypes. Anybody in particular's prototypes?
A few. I don't.
Did you play one
that's coming out next year, or hopefully next year? I'm not sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Did you play a new Roy prototype?
Yes, but we're talking. We did. I did.
I did not. I missed out, unfortunately.
Yes.
Okay.
I threw that all in the trash, Kent. Don't worry.
Oh.
What? Why?
I'm just kidding. Throw it in the trash. Come on. Anyway. Okie doke. But yeah. More coming soon. Rob, trust me, I'll let you play any of my prototypes anytime you want, because I need all the help I can get. I need to get plays in. But yeah.
But I'll only play another prototype if my name will be above Kent Courtney's name on the next rulebook.
Trust me.
Like I'll give them one. Like that's cute, but like the next one, like Robert Newman should be above.
I don't know.
Because even alphabetically, N is before P.
Makes sense to me. What about K and R though?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I guess like if that's what you're doing it based off of, but if you're doing it off of first names,
I'm pretty sure that like I wrote down a list of names, so it's probably my fault. And then they didn't like alphabetize the names, which seems weird to me. But whatever, you know. So, listen.
This was not a good show for
Rob,
me.
you made it above Isaac Vega, so there's that.
What?
You made it above Isaac Vega, so there's that.
Yes, that definitely does help. Man, this was not a good show. This was not a good show for me. I've backed some stuff that I should not have backed at the very beginning.
Wait, during the show?
Yeah.
What?
The
We
Planet
need to just-
Unknown thing, and I really like that game. I really, really, really enjoyed Planet Unknown. And just some other stuff on GameFound because I never checked GameFound, and so it's just
Yeah,
like, oh,
Game-
See, I told you, like, you have to
It's dangerous.
describe what GameFound is to people. No one ever
But I
checks
don't ever
GameFound.
really check Kickstarter unless like I get a notification like, hey, your so and so's coming on. So I don't check these things unless somebody like reaches out to me, whether it's Kickstarter or GameFound.
The only thing I see on Kickstarter is I get a bunch of emails saying Robert Newman back this, Robert Newman back this,
Oh,
Robert
no.
Newman back this, Robert Newman back this. That's the only
He's a super
Kickstarter
backer.
emails I get.
Yeah.
But yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us on the show. We're going to wrap this thing up. But it's been a blast. I want to say thanks to Kent and Courtney and Rob for joining us. And Ruthie for hanging out.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Ruthie.
For the hair appearance.
Yes.
And hopefully, Matt and Adam will be back.
Matt and Adam will be
soon.
back next time.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam wanted to
Yeah.
make it, but he ended up having to work late. Well, they both have to work late.
Yeah.
So.
It was sort of fun though when Kent and Courtney weren't here because like it felt bad. Like I don't know if you guys listened. Did you guys listen to the episode?
We're rebellious. We can
Yeah,
do
we're
anything
like,
we want because Kent and Courtney aren't here keeping us in
Parents are out
line.
of here, so we can do whatever we want.
Which is messed
No.
up because isn't that the way it used to be when I wasn't here, Rob?
Yeah. But now Kent and Courtney are responsible ones.
We're
Like,
the
Adam's
parents,
the
right?
crazy uncle. Adam's like the uncle who's like, "Hey, man, you want to try a drink of this?" Like you don't put Adam in charge of the kids. Kent and Courtney are
I'm
in
pretty
charge.
sure
of
if
the kids.
Adam was in
Yeah,
charge
Rob's
of,
always like, well, you guys are the parents, so
Yeah.
gotta
Adam
keep
would
you in line.
never let the podcast in. Every episode would be like 60 hours, you know? He's like, all right, and now we're going to play a role-playing game.
Yeah, I had to tell Kent to start backing off when because he was arguing with people about rules too much. So I was like, Kent, calm down. People are still trying to have fun. Like, stop being rules lawyer all the time.
But Kent was a rules lawyer. I don't believe it.
Big
There's no way
surprise.
that would happen.
Yeah.
He just wants to
Who
play it
would've
right, Courtney.
Who would have thought?
He just wants to
I
make
just
sure
wanna
he's
play it
playing it
right.
right. He doesn't
It
care
doesn't matter
if
what-
it,
If it's
favors
not in my
him
favor,
or if it favors
Correct.
somebody else.
I don't care who it favors.
He
I
doesn't
just
care
want
who
to
it
play right.
favors. He just wants to make sure he's playing it right.
Yeah. Because game designers put a lot of time and effort into their games.
Yeah.
And I like to play how they wanted you to play it.
Yeah.
Because I respect game designers
Or
that much.
You can just play it to have fun.
It's fun following the rules.
For you.
I'm sure your teachers and everybody's like, it's fun to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you
If
next
Kent
time.
was a teacher, he's like the teacher was like 2 ears for listening, 1 mouth for quiet, like all the kids that be walking through the
One
hallway.
rule book for reading.
Uh,
That's right.
Yep.
Bye, kids.